When you look at the world today, it is so easy to feel completely overwhelmed by the constant stream of crises. It makes you wonder, does a Christian faith offer a different way to respond? That's the huge question we're going to tackle today as we explore a framework for navigating turmoil that's been built from centuries of scripture and history. All right, so here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to start by really defining the problem. Then we'll turn to scripture and history to find some guidance. From there, we'll pull out some key themes for action, and we'll wrap up with some challenging questions for all of us to think about. So let's just start with a feeling that I think is becoming really, really common for a lot of us when we look at the world today. Think about it. You turn on the news, you scroll through your feed, and it's just, bam. It's a constant 24/7 stream of information about suffering and conflict all over the globe. And honestly, it can leave you feeling pretty helpless, just wondering what, if anything, you can possibly do. And it's not just one thing, is it? It feels like this unrelenting pattern. One week it's reports of massive political unrest. The next, it's heartbreaking stories about floods or wildfires. We see these ongoing wars that are forcing millions of people from their homes and famines putting entire populations at risk. These crises, they've really become a defining feature of our time. And all of this, it brings up a really fundamental question for every single one of us, no matter what you believe. When things start to fall apart, how are we supposed to respond? What's the right way to think about it, to talk about it, and, ultimately to act? And that's where we get to the heart of what we're talking about today. Does having a Christian worldview mean you should have a distinct approach? Is there a unique framework for navigating these incredibly turbulent times? Well, let's unpack that. Okay, so to even begin to build this framework, we've got to go back to the very foundation, ancient scriptures that have been guiding people through suffering and chaos for thousands of years. Take a verse like this one from Romans. It's really powerful because it sets up a whole mindset. It's not a call to panic or to despair. It's a call to an active faith, a posture of being patient through affliction, holding on to hope for what's to come, and staying in constant connection with God through prayer. Now, this is fascinating. Passages like this one from the Gospel of Matthew totally reframe how we see global crises. They're presented not as some kind of shocking surprise, but as an expected, though tragic, part of human history. So the main point isn't the chaos itself, but the call to endure through it all with a really steadfast faith. And this idea of finding stability, you see it all over the Psalms. It's this powerful concept that your real security doesn't come from the world around you, which can literally give way, but from God. It's a call to anchor our response in faith, not in fear, even when it feels like everything is falling apart. Okay, but this isn't just some abstract theological idea, right? This framework is actually grounded in how real people, real Christians, have responded to absolute chaos throughout history. And when you look at this timeline, you start to see this incredible pattern emerge. From the very earliest days of persecution, where the response was mutual aid instead of fighting back, to the plagues, where many Christians cared for the sick at great personal risk, all the way to famines and wars. There's this clear historical precedent of responding to crisis with tangible service, community care, and a real push for peace. All right, so we've got the scriptural foundation, we've got the historical examples. The big question is, how do we pull all of that together into something practical we can actually use today? Well, it really boils down to these 5 key themes. It's a really holistic approach. Notice how it moves from the inside out, from the internal posture of prayer and hope, to the external actions of community support and peacemaking. The key is that it's not just about feeling something, it's about doing something. All of it grounded in this specific worldview. But look, this isn't meant to be some simple checklist you just tick off. It's really more of a starting point, a prompt for some deep, personal, and even community-wide reflection. So that brings us to our first big question to chew on. This one pushes past the theory and gets really practical. It asks, what does community support actually look like for us right here, right now? How can we organize ourselves to provide real, tangible help and be a beacon of hope when things get dark? And then there's this one, which takes a huge idea like peacemaking and brings it right down to our everyday lives. It challenges us to really think about where we have influence. How do we de-escalate conflict in our own homes, at work, and, so important in our time, in the way we talk to people online? And we're going to end with what might be the toughest, but also the most profound question of all. When the scale of suffering just feels infinite and our ability to help feels so incredibly small, what does it genuinely mean to hold on to faith in a greater purpose and plan? It's a question that really sits at the very heart of faith in a time of crisis, and it's a fitting place for us to end our reflection today.